Welcome back, guys, to the Seeing Red MMA podcast here. I am your host, Dustin, and this week, got a big fight card ahead of us up in Newark, New Jersey, here at the Prudential Center. Aljamain Sterling will be taking on the return of Triple C Henry Cejudo. Now, this very intriguing card here. There's a couple last-minute changes to this card that happened actually this week. This is Wednesday before the fight card actually takes place, but Cejudo coming back to face Aljo. That is still your main event here, but recently, within the last couple weeks, Bilal Muhammad versus Gilbert Burns was added to the card. That will be your co-main event. More than likely, winner of that fight will get a title shot. You also got Jessica Andrade versus Jan on there. Now, it was supposed to be Movsar Evelev versus Bryce Mitchell, but Bryce Mitchell did have to pull out due to a shoulder injury, from what I believe. So Diego Lopez will be filling in for Bryce Mitchell. And then also the return of the long-awaited Kron Gracie against Charles Jourdain. So other fights that are happening on the card as well, too, that we'll kind of briefly go over. But just to kind of start at the top, man, you got the return of probably one of the most respected combat sports athletes in a while here. I mean, I know Henry Cejudo has been gone for quite a while here, but I don't know if you can hear that. I'm using the mic on my pocket, as you can tell, but the plane just flew over my apartment, and it's gone. So we're probably good. Hopefully the sound quality's good. I just started doing these outside. It's getting nice out. It's nice at night. It's not super cold, not super hot either just yet. So I'm not here in Arizona, so whoops. But once the summertime kind of starts to roll around again, then we'll probably start to get a little bit hotter outside. But as of right now, it's perfect temperature. But yeah, back to the fights here. Aljamain Sterling trying to defend his title against Henry Cejudo here. Now, I was kind of going back and forth on this. I thought Henry Cejudo just because of the legacy he left behind before he retired. I mean, double champ, flyweight and bantamweight, Olympic gold medalist in the wrestling. I mean, with those credentials alone, you would think he would be kind of the favorite. Then I kind of looked at their recent resumes. Aljamain Sterling has a win over Peter Yan, Corey Sandhagen, TJ Dillashaw. I know the TJ Dillashaw win, that was a little bit controversial because of the shoulder injury that TJ did sustain, but regardless of all that, I was looking at just the overall resumes. Cejudo won the title against Marlon Moraes in 2019, defended it against Dominic Cruz, and then retired. So, looking back on it, I mean, for the time, yes, it was a pretty standout career that he had there. But now when you look at it, is the caliber of fighters that Cejudo beat when he won the belt and then defended it that one time, is it the same caliber as today's fighters that Aljamain has been dealing with, like Peter Yan, like Corey Sandhagen? I don't think so. And with the big size discrepancy, I mean, Aljamain being 5'7", I know it's not crazy tall. I mean, I'm 5'7". Henry Cejudo being 5'4", though, and being a pretty big reach disadvantage for Cejudo as well, too. I think the rangier fighter in this fight is going to win more, and I think that's Aljamain. I think he's got more range. I think he's probably gotten better as far as his accuracy has gotten over the years. I know his striking wasn't A1, but it's definitely gotten better since his kind of rise to the top. And, I mean, it's really just hard to say how good Cejudo's going to look when he does get into the cage on Saturday there. So, I mean, if I had to put money down, I think Aljamain's probably going to beat him. Maybe even dominate him. I just think that size discrepancy, both wrestler types, especially with the type of caliber opponents Aljamain has been fighting as of recent, it's hard for me not to lean towards Aljamain in this kind of contest here. So, I mean, I think Aljamain retains the belt. I think he beats Cejudo and then tries his hand at 145 after this. I mean, you beat a legend like Henry Cejudo regardless of his layoff that he's had. It's still quite the feather that you got in your cap there, so why not move up to featherweight? Because I know he's been dying at 135. He hates making that weight. Let him move up to featherweight. Give Merab the title shot opportunity against maybe like a Sandhagen or Sugar Sean, and then the winner of that wins the vacant title if Aljamain was to beat Cejudo. But either way, I think this fight's going to play out a lot on the feet too. I think there might be some takedown attempts, but I think a lot of this fight is going to play out, especially in the opening rounds while they're feeling each other out. It is going to play mostly on the feet there at range. I think Cejudo's going to try and get in close with his blitzes and his kicks and things like that, but I think Aljamain is just a lot longer and more accurate. And we do know, especially if Cejudo does try using kicks to get in close, Aljamain's very good at catching kicks and using it to his advantage and getting takedowns there. So I would definitely look to see that in this fight as well. But it's a great fight. I mean, I've been excited for Cejudo's return, and Aljamain, he has been growing on me as of recently as well too. I know ever since the first Peter Yan fights kind of left a sour taste in our mouth because we all didn't think it was a legitimate win. But I mean, hey, he went in there and beat him the second time, so hats off to him. Now your co-main event, you got Bilal Muhammad versus Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns literally just fought. I think it's less than a month ago. He fought Jorge Masvidal, retired him. 3-round decision, pretty much dominated the whole fight. I mean, there were certain points in the stand-up where Gilbert looked like he was maybe resting a bit there, but didn't look like Masvidal had any kind of upper hand in that fight. So Bilal Muhammad, I know he's kind of taken this fight on short notice as well too. I know he has a big weight cut ahead of him. I think when he actually signed the deal, he had to cut like 40 pounds or something like that. Don't quote me, but that's from what I heard from like going around on Twitter and whatnot, just like the journalists that were reporting on this fight when it first was announced. But man, Bilal Muhammad, I mean, he should be getting the title shot against Leon over Colby, but we know that, I mean, it's an entertainment business. Who's going to be more entertaining than Bilal? 100% it's going to be Colby, regardless if you like Colby or not. I may not be the biggest fan of Colby just because, I mean, if you talk a lot of shit like he does and your main style is to cross sniff, it's kind of hard for me to ride that train. But at the same time, Bilal Muhammad, his last victory over Sean Brady, getting the first TKO win in the UFC. Not, I think it might even be in his career, but first TKO win finish in his UFC career. And a lot of people had Sean Brady to be the next big thing at welterweight there. So that was a big deal when he was able to go out there and pretty much dismantle Sean Brady. I know he's got, I don't know if Khabib's going to be in his corner this go around. I don't believe so. I think Khabib's retired from coaching and anything to do with MMA, which, I mean, he's been around it for so long. I know he just opened up a gym recently, but the odds do reflect what I'm thinking here. I mean, Gilbert Burns is the minus 125, Bilal Muhammad a plus 105. I got to lean towards Gilbert Burns here, guys. I think he is going to get it done. I think he gets another shot after Colby and Usman, or excuse me, Colby and Leon settle their beef there and get that fight taken care of. And yeah, I think Gilbert Burns probably wins pretty easily as well, too. Probably the difference maker is going to be on the feet, regardless of Bilal Muhammad's last win being on the feet as well, too. I think Gilbert Burns is honestly, now that Usman kind of has lost his belt, lost the rematch against Leon, that's the next guy that's going to be taking that, I think, taking that shot. Does he beat Leon? We'll have to see how he looks in this fight here, but I mean, I think it's just Gilbert Burns. I think he's just hungry. I think he doesn't have much time left in this sport. I think it's now or never for him. So I got Gilbert Burns to win probably by decision, if not finish him, and maybe the late in the second, early in the third. Jessica Andrade, coming off her loss to Erin Blanchfield here, fighting Zhao Yan. If I pronounced that correctly, great. If I didn't, I tried. I apologize. But Yan, pretty good striker. I know she's had her ups and downs in that division there, but Jessica Andrade has always been at the top there. I mean, she's kind of like the gatekeeper of the women's strawweight division. So I could definitely see her going out there and putting on another clinic like she did against Lauren Murphy in Brazil back in January. Or, who knows, we might see kind of an upset win for Jian here in this fight as well, too. But, I mean, Jessica Andrade is just a powerhouse. She's short, she's stocky, she throws very, very heavy hands. It's the fighting style I like to see, especially in the women's division where that's kind of needed, especially in a time right now. If she can get back to the top, if Grasso and Shevchenko rematch and Andrade can get a few more notches under her belt, I know Erin Blanchfield's probably ahead of her as far as getting a title shot, but Jessica Andrade is in a good spot right here where she can rebound with a solid, pretty much standard Jessica Andrade victory where she goes out there and swings from her hips, hooks all over the place, and maybe gets a TKO win or just puts on another striking clinic. I like to see Jessica Andrade get another title shot, especially against a fresh-faced opponent like Grasso. The odds definitely reflect what I'm thinking here, too. Jessica Andrade is a minus 190. Yan is a plus 160, so got to give it to Andrade in this one. Now, I was very excited for this fight because of Bryce Mitchell, but unfortunately, Bryce Mitchell is out. Now, Movsar Evelev is fighting Diego Lopes. Movsar Evelev, number 10 in the division, taking on a guy who, I don't even, does he have any UFC fights? let me see here. I think this is his debut, so it's very short notice. I mean, he's... No. No way. Oh, this guy's going to get slaughtered. Oh, shit. If this guy wins, it's the biggest upset in history. Based off what the UFC's website says, I got to look this up on SureDog just to be sure, because if that is true, this is horrendous. That is bad. So let's go to his Tapology page real quick. Okay. Thank you. He's 21-5. He's definitely got some experience under his belt. Whew. UFC's website had me worried there for a second. They had him as 0-1. Huh. That was, if that was true, I was going to be like, oh, this guy's going to get murdered. But, yeah, I mean, he's not a bad fighter here. Most of his wins do come by submission. He's got 11 wins by submission, 8 by KO. We all know Movsar Evalev's game is to basically wrestle. Going to use his superior wrestling, get you on the ground, probably confuse you on the feet a little bit, get you to the ground. That's his bread and butter. But, yeah, it looks like this, oh, he fought in the Contender Series too. So he lost on the Contender Series, lost in ACB. His last actual fight was back in November of last year in Lux Fighting. He won round 2 KO. So, not a bad win, but he did... Oh, they got Combat Jiu-Jitsu on here? Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Tapology, what are you doing? I want to look at MMA fights. That's what we're here to witness. Either way, Movsar Evalev, definitely probably like one of the dark horses of that division there. I think he can definitely give some of the upper echelon of that division a lot of problems, especially guys like Giga Chikadze, maybe even like a Josh Emmett, Calvin Kattar, those guys that aren't necessarily known for their grappling. I mean, he's got a decision win over Dan Ige, decision win over Dawoodu, decision win over Nick Lentz. Let's see what else he's got under his belt. I know he's got the decision over Grundy, Barzola, Choi. The guy's good. I mean, he's a very, very good fighter. I think Movsar Evalev probably takes this. If I had to play it safe, which I am, I'll bet on Movsar Evalev to probably even win within the distance. Now, big fight as well. Kron Gracie makes his return against Charles Jourdain. It's been a while since we've seen Kron Gracie. I think his last fight, let me be sure, was that decision loss to Cub Swanson back in 2019. So it has been almost a 4-year layoff. It's been about 3.5 years since we've seen Kron Gracie in the UFC. I know he's 5-1, 5 wins by submission, 1 first-round finish. But, I mean, Charles Jourdain, the guy he's fighting is no joke. The guy's intense. He's probably one of the best TikTok follows for an MMA fighter as well, too. He's a pretty funny guy as well, but I mean, being funny can't really help you in the cage. But Charles Jourdain is just mean, man, too. I know he lost his last fight to Nathaniel Wood there, but no slouch in that. He's got a majority loss to Shane Burgos, which, I mean, majority loss. I mean, someone had to think he won. He's got a submission win on Orlando Venata, which is not easy to do. Definitely not easy to do. And we all remember him sparring kicking at Ewell in the Apex. I mean, he's kind of been back and forth. He's got that submission loss to Julian Erosa. He's got a KO win over Roja. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of been back and forth on that guy. I know when he made his big break, he was knocking out Doo-Ho Choi in South Korea there. So, I mean, hopefully he can kind of get that same momentum going again. But one of the fights that I'm looking forward to the best, and shout out Matt Favola if you're watching this, I know that you are. I am a big fan of yours, and I cannot wait to see you fight Drew Dober. That is a very, very, very stylistically pleasing matchup there, both heavy in the striking. I mean, Dober does have that wrestling in his back pocket, but I mean, Favola does have decent submission game as well, too, or at least his takedown defense. But the odds do reflect what most people are thinking, minus 205 for Dober, plus 175 for Favola. But, I mean, these guys are competitors. I mean, they're professionals. They know what they're getting into. They met at the Fighter Hotel, shaking hands, saying how much fun it's going to be. So, I'm just going to ride with my guy because, I mean, I like Favola a lot. He's a lot of fun. You know, he's got that win over Potato Bag back in November of last year. I forget that. Oh, Ottman. excuse me, Otman Adiazir, or however you say his last name, but he's got that pretty much underdog KO victory over Otman. So, I mean, I want Favola to win so bad. Kennedy and Nzenchukwu. Fuck, these guys' names, guys. Come on. You got to have like a button on here where I can just have Google like pronounce it for me. Versus Devin Clark. Kennedy's a minus 190 here. Devin Clark's a plus 160. I mean, and Nzenchukwu, I know he's got that win over what's that dude's name? Why am I forgetting it? Trains with Izzy, big Aussie boy. Why am I forgetting his name right now? Hold on. I'll figure this out. Yeah, he's got that come from behind the win over Kute Lava. He's got a KO victory over Carl Robertson. Nega Mariano. And then, Jung. Marquez, where is it? Carlos Olberg, that's who it was. I mean, the guy's been on a bit of a streak here. I mean, his last loss was Jung, but everything other than that, KO split. I could see why people got him as the favorite there, especially over a guy like Kute Laba. I mean, you got a KO victory over Kute Laba, you go and place this guy. So, I can kind of see where the odds are sitting on that one. It makes a lot of sense. Chaos Williams returns against Rolando Bedoya. Don't know anything about that. Chaos Williams, let's go get a KO again. Marina Rodriguez versus Virna Jandroba, the cross-eyed chameleon from Brazil. Both Brazilian fighters. Marina Rodriguez, I mean, she's going to piece her up on the feet, right, guys? Oh, it's Parker Porter fight week, too. I forgot about that. Parker Porter, fan favorite. Big old chubby white guy in the heavyweight division that has no gas tank. And Braxton Smith, big, juicy guy making his debut. Either this fight's going to end in the first round KO or we are going to be bored. So it's 50-50 on that one, guys. We all know how heavyweight, usually unranked heavyweight fights go. It's either slobber knocker and someone gets dropped, or it's going to be a snooze fest. And as of late, they've been snooze fests. Phil Hawes returns versus Ikram Aliskerov. So, Aliskerov, no idea who Ikram is, but Phil Hawes is a dangerous man, so hopefully he can get the deal done. Oh yeah, Bolkat Zumagulov. I call him Bolkat because he just debuted a new hairstyle as of recent, and it's a straight-up bowl cut. You did not hear that incorrectly. He has a bowl cut currently. Yeah. Versus Rafael Estevan. Zumagulov wins. Just going to throw that out there. Oh, Ugly Joseph Holmes. I'm not calling him ugly. That is his fight name. Versus Claudio Ribeiro. I know Ribeiro was kind of as a hype train on the Contender Series. Same with Holmes. But Ribeiro is a minus 175. Holmes is a plus 150. I mean, Ribeiro just got knocked out by... what's his name? Abdul Razak Al Hassan. Kind of want to give it to Ribeiro as well, too. And to open the entire fight here, Daniel Santos versus Johnny Munoz. Yeah, that'll be a good opening fight to kind of get our blood going here. But, yeah, I mean, this card is pretty good as it kind of... It got better as we got closer to fight week there. I mean, Aljamain Sterling, Henry Cejudo, Bilal Muhammad versus Gilbert Burns. And then we got Drew Dober and Matt Favola with Kron Gracie and Charles Jourdain. Might have noticed I'm skipping a few fights because I think they're just going to be pretty one-sided. Andrade and Evelev, I think, are going to get a pretty easy win this weekend. Nice, easy paycheck. But who knows? I could be wrong. Chaos Williams return as well. But, yeah, I mean, another thing I did want to kind of touch on here, I mean, if Cejudo does lose this fight, does he retire, or does he actually do try his hand at featherweight? I hope if he does lose, if he does lose, I hope he just stays retired. Because imagine like Cejudo versus a guy like Josh Emmett, Calvin Kattar, Charles Jourdain. I don't think he beats those guys unless he can somehow get them on the ground and keep them there. Josh Emmett, I don't think he can do. Calvin Kattar's too long. I think Giga Chikadze kicks his head off through his hand while he's blocking it. Charles Jourdain probably gets the win over him, but I know he's always wanted to go up and fight Volkanovski there, but I mean, let's be realistic, guys. I mean, the guy's been away for 3 years. I got Aljamain Sterling winning this, guys. I think he beats Cejudo. I mean, he's already beat TJ. He's already beat Cejudo. I mean, Cruz isn't going to get a title shot anytime soon, because if he was to fight Cruz, he definitely would beat Cruz in my opinion. There, he hit the trifecta. I mean, Cody's definitely out of the picture. I mean, Uriah's definitely not in the picture whatsoever. He's already beat Jan. I mean, if Aljo wins this, is he your greatest bantamweight of all time? It's hard to say not to. I know it's recency bias as well too, but at the same time, the way that the sport has grown over the years and the way that these guys have progressed as far as skill, if you're the top guy, especially nowadays, and you can hold on to that for maybe a year or two, it's hard to dispute. That's another thing too. I mean, every champion that comes along within the next couple of years, they are going to be the best version of that division, because the sport keeps getting better over the years. The talent keeps rising over the years. I mean, Jamal Hill, Contender Series guy, goes out there and beats Glover, now is holding the belt. Now, is he the best light heavyweight in the division? Maybe not, but that's my point there, is that it's those guys that you don't expect to win that do. I mean, Aljo was losing the first Jan fight until that illegal knee. Second Jan fight came around, I had Jan all day. I was very wrong. I was very, very wrong. But that's it for me, guys. I mean, I'm very excited about this main event here, just because, I mean, it's been a while since I've seen Cejudo. Bilal Muhammad, I think, doesn't get the title shot opportunity because Gilbert Burns stops the hype train. Kron Gracie probably gets the shit kicked out of him again. Mozart Evelev, Russell Fox, Diego Lopes. And Drew Dober and Matt Favola go to war. Good old-fashioned slobber knocker with strikers. It's going to be a good night. I know that the prelims here are starting at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Early prelims probably starting around, let's see, like 3. So, yeah, 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time for the early prelims. And then main card starting about 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. That's Arizona. So, East Coast, you are getting a very late main card. They'll be starting at 10 p.m., so you got to stay up late. Main event will probably start around 10 p.m. my time, but set your calendars accordingly. Make an alarm, do whatever you got to do, but this is a card I'm not missing. I don't miss any of them because I'm an absolute degenerate. But like I always say, if you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Try and get one up after the fight card, probably Sunday mornings when you'll see that hit my screen or hit your screens there. But yeah, other than that, guys, like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at SeeingRedMMA. You guys have yourself a great rest of your day. Until next time, see ya.